"You don't look autistic" is the worst thing you can say to a person recently diagnosed. People often think those with combat PTSD are going to flip out with flashbacks and become violent. Maybe the case for some, but a lot of us have an almost opposite effect where we become so stuck in a shell that we feel or act like vegetables. I know it plays a significant factor in why we tend to drink so darn much. A few glasses later and you not only feel like a normal outgoing person again, but act that way for others. Most of the garbage in the movies does a poor job at reflecting the realities of it. But it's absolutely different for everyone. People with eating disorders don't hate food. We love to eat and cook. OCD here had to get used to it because basically everybody feels entitled to self-identify as OCD because some random pic online of a messy room made them cringe. People forget that the cleaning compulsively and making sure everything is in order is a small part of a gigantic range of obsessions. The thoughts that bother you and urge you to act compulsively, and compulsions the ritual one does to lower the anxiety caused by the obsession. Obsessions can be about diseases and disorder, but also about sex, violence, religion, etc. Compulsions can look like excessively cleaning, but also like pulling your hair, returning home to check the locks, look for items in your purse regularly though you know they're there, etc. Edit. If you believe you might have OCD, look for a professional so you can get a proper diagnosis and treatment. But it is awesome that we live in a time where forums and information are so easily accessible. So I encourage you to research as much as you can, whatever intrusive thought you might be having, and thinking you're the only one out there suffering. Chances are a lot of people are having it too and talking about it on OCD and mental health forums. OMG, I'm so bipolar. What? You mean you have brain-damaging manic episodes where you come 2 weeks later with a ton of debt and 5 cars on your lawn? Or you get so depressed that you can't move your body? Get lost with that. ADHD people don't run around in circles like a hyperactive squirrel on energy drink. We mostly just forget stuff, zone out as if we were a cat looking at a ghost in the corner. Impulses such as buying stuff we don't need and of course not able to do important studies, projects, and other stuff, and #X200B. And #X200B. Stuff. Edit. Thanks for the silver. Didn't deserve it but I appreciate it. I have depression. I cope with it by working hard and staying active, and taking prescription medication and seeing a psychiatrist and a psychologist when I can afford it. Therefore I am somewhat successful, fairly fit, and always busy. The stereotype that depressed people stay in bed all day, gain weight, and don't do anything means that no one believes me when I say I have depression. I feel very alone. ADHD are here. There are so many stereotypes for it, most of which are perpetuated by people who don't have a clue. It doesn't even exist. Big Pharma. 1. Everyone has it a bit. Therefore it doesn't exist. People get sad but it doesn't mean they have clinical depression. It's so much more than, ooh look a squirrel. It's a disorder that impacts every single part of your life, from work and school to relationships. This in turn can cause comorbidity with anxiety, depression, and even PTSD. It's not just children that have it. Most never fully grow out of it. I was diagnosed last year at 26. We might not be bouncing off the walls as adults, but our brain is internally. As someone with both generalized and social anxiety, the most common misconception I run across is that there is a situational cause for my growing anxious, experiencing a panic attack, etc. Oh, you must be stressed about this or that. The grim reality is that for me, and for a lot of anxious individuals, the source is entirely internal, i.e., nothing sets it off aside from the brain itself. This is what makes the condition so horrific at times. It begins to feel as though you're imprisoned inside your own skull, hence a fair number of Anxiety sufferers self-medicate with all sorts of fun but dangerous substances. I have PTSD. Anxiety. Depression. No, not everyone who has PTSD got it from combat. I was clinically diagnosed when I was 12. Get the fluff out of here with your, you don't have legitimate PTSD. Last I heard of it, I'm in the autism spectrum. I don't really appreciate the stereotypes and loathe when it's used as an insult. But I do enjoy the humor and memes a lot. Depressed people aren't mopey and a bummer to be around. We have fun. We laugh. I laugh way more than is considered normal. But I still struggle. If you have a mental illness too, I fluffing support you. Even if you don't, I fluffing support. And thank you for posting this. I'm so glad content like this is on Reddit. Upvote the fluff out of this. I shall. I have been diagnosed with anxiety and depression. I am sick of people saying that they have anxiety like it's some unique personality trait. It's not. And #X200B. Everyone gets anxious sometimes, but when you suffer from an anxiety disorder, it's hell to go through. Imagine getting panic attacks in certain scenarios that you take for granted every day. Like purchasing something from the shop and all of a sudden you start shaking and get this impending sense of dread and doom. You're at my worst. I wasn't able to leave the house, so no, it's not some cool unique personality trait. It's garbage house and I wouldn't wish it upon anyone. Let's just say that I am sick and tired of seeing people use autistic in the same way as retarded. And that people think autism means retarded when it isn't. Most autistic people are actually high-functioning people, just with a lot of social troubles. For autism, it's when pop culture interprets it as hidden genius syndrome. Rain Man, the accountant, the good doctor, like many people on the autistic spectrum, do have some incredible intelligence. But that doesn't mean we're all geniuses. I'm tired of stereotyping from other mentally ill people to the tune that if you only have depressive and/or anxiety disorders, that you have it easy and are probably faking the severity of your symptoms. Yes, the needs of someone with schizophrenia or bipolar will be different than someone with GAD or dysthymia. It doesn't mean any types of depression and anxiety are less legitimate or can't possibly also have life-disturbing or threatening symptoms. As a former agoraphobe with PTSD and lifelong, at times suicidal, depression, it sucks to think that people who should be able to relate to your struggle can be so hostile. Instead, this garbage isn't easy mode. I'm diagnosed with CPTSD. First off, no. I have not been in the war. I've been sexually, emotionally, physically abused for all of my childhood life. I have long-term trauma issues. Secondly, I'm not the stereotype of someone screaming and abusing the word triggered in public. If someone was to trigger me into a flashback, I wouldn't tell them to stop what they are talking about. If the situation was too much, and I was physically okay, I'd leave. My PTSD is my problem, not yours. I can't control what other people say and will never try. And last but not least, I am not abusive. Yes, flashbacks, certainly nightmares, can cause me to become irritable and angry sometimes. But that doesn't mean I can't control my actions and I do not hurt others. Autistic. We generally do stick out like a sore thumb if you know some of the symptoms. But we aren't generally stupid. I got bullied a lot about the stereotype, so I hate it. I hate the insult of it as well. Geez, you're so autistic, like, fluff you. I can't do garbage about it. I am diagnosed with like 4 different types of anxiety, and people like to claim there's no stigma until you start showing symptoms, until I have a panic attack around you, until I can't breathe because the store worker was just trying to help me, until I need my medication, until I can't handle the loud noises and the only thought to cross my mind is suicide. Then I am a freak again. Then you start laughing. Then you tell me to just get over it. Then you tell me it's not that bad. To me, it is that bad. I have had anxiety since I was 5 years old, but I was not diagnosed until 11. I am 17 now. Just started meditation last year, and my issues have not vanished. My mother is thinking of pulling me from therapy because she claims I am not getting better. When I tell her all of my anxious thoughts, she looks at me like I have several heads. Do not tell me anxiety does not have stigma surrounding it. It does.